Let's get ready for Monday Mortgage Minute with your hosts, Tom McNamara and Bruce Wood.
All right.
Hello,
Monday
Bruce.
again. Man, are we ever burning through this month?
We're almost done with 2024, my friend.
Yep. Yeah.
It has been an interesting year for sure.
It's been a ride in a stagecoach, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I want to talk to you about what's going on with real estate right now. Like what I'll share my aspect from the finance and mortgage end, but what are you seeing right now?
So I'm seeing inventory is continuing to rise. We've got almost 6 months, 5.5 to 6 months of single family homes. We've got almost 10 months of condos, villas, and townhomes. And I think the reason I talk about that as two different things is because clearly they're very different markets, right? And while 6 months is, that's what we call a balanced market, right?
Right.
In single family homes. So that prices there are kind of stable, some are up, some are down. Sellers are giving deals and incentives, but at the same time, they're not giving away the farm. But the condo market is just like, I wouldn't call it devastating, but it's stagnant.
Well, I think it's going to continue to get hit and before it gets better because of special assessments, insurance rates going up, tripling, quadrupling, and in many cases, even higher than quadrupling, I've heard, which raises HOA fees, which pulls away from the cash reserves. Then they got to impose special assessments to people. You still have your repairs to make, and the associations don't have the reserves. Therefore, they fall off the Fannie Mae or the HUD or the VA approval list, and now you can't even get financing on them.
Well, not only that, but now if they don't have reserves, they're violating Florida law.
Yes.
Right. So
I don't know how long they're going to give them to catch up on that, but they're going to have to catch up on that. But eventually it will come back. So,
I think so.
Right now, I'd stay away from condos, but some people may look at that as being a buying opportunity too. So if you can afford to pay cash or get some type of alternative financing, you could probably pick up some deals on some condos. Problem is are there future assessments coming down?
Absolutely.
You can't always tell unless you do a lot of research.
Yeah. And even then, I recommend people attend board meetings and things like that, which a lot of times they won't let you if you're not a resident. I've snuck into a few,
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I see right now in the market. I have 6 closings between today and the end of the year. 6.
Congratulations. That's fantastic news.
It's, and so, and some of them are cash deals, whatever. Some of them are financed. But things have picked up for me personally. It's going to be the best month of my 2024.
That's fantastic. That's great news. So where do we see with this inventory being higher, where are you seeing the challenges or the opportunities right now?
So the challenges are, if you're a seller and you need to sell, you have to be realistic. And that's probably the biggest challenge is people are still a little bit unrealistic about what their house is going to sell for. They still are in the 2021 mindset of, I'll throw it up there and see what happens. Or I want to have room to negotiate. And I highly recommend against that. Matter of fact, one of the closings that I have that's going to happen it should be my last one. It's going to be on the 30th. It's a townhouse. I pushed them to list it at the right price. There's 4 other townhouses in the same community, all for sale that have 60, 90 days on the market. We went under contract in 1 day. And we went under contract in 1 day because they listed it at the right price. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with
you. That's why it takes a professional real estate agent to be able to help the client guide them in the right direction to sell. Where you got all these other townhomes that are probably the same as yours, right? They've been on the market 90 days. You're on the market 1 day. So, all right. So we see that sellers could be somewhat challenged because more inventory means more competition for them. What does that do for buyers?
for buyers, that is where the opportunity is. So if you're patient and you watch a house that's been on the market 30, 60, 90 days, and it starts having those price drops, right? When they start having the price drops, that's where you can strike with an opportunity to come in just ahead of their next price drop, get that price drop before they drop it, if you will, right? By coming in with an offer that might feel a little bit lowball and negotiating it down.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Hey, if you wanna learn how Tom and I buy houses, we have lots of rental properties. We've been doing this a long time. I'm going to be teaching a class on January 22nd in Winter Park at 6:30 at the Ale House. Go to
yeah,
webringyouhome.com to register. We're going to show you how to be an investor or just acquire multiple properties over your lifetime so that you can accumulate some retirement wealth or even generational wealth. So I just wanted to throw that in. So right now
absolutely.
you're seeing the opportunity for buyers. So more inventory means buyers have a greater selection of properties.
Absolutely.
And since sellers have more competition, they have to get realistic about their prices. I suggest that more so than negotiating price, negotiate closing costs, because
Sure.
closing costs are dollar for dollar out of your pocket. Negotiate closing costs, maybe even rate buy downs. These are huge. I think that if you are a buyer or a wannabe buyer and you've been sitting on the market and waiting for things to happen, then now is the time to strike. Believe me, now is the time to strike. Interest rates still aren't down where we thought they were going to be. And I want to talk a little bit about the projection that we have on interest rates. Uh, but it is still a buying opportunity. So right now, we see a 96.7% chance that the Fed is going to drop the rates by 1/4 point. So
That's as much of a lock as you could.
yeah,
If I
you
could,
can't get more than that.
yeah, if you got Vegas odds like that, that's it, man. That's the bet you take that week, right?
Absolutely. So we're going to see that. But what does that do for mortgage rates? So I want to just pull up what's going on the bond chart here right now. So remember, we want bonds to be up, not
Right.
down.
Right.
Okay. So we want the bond yield to be high. That lowers interest rates. So if we go back to this date right around here, around September the 18th. That's the day that the Fed cut the Fed rate 1/2 point. Now, look what happened to mortgage rates. Now, the mortgage rates went up, the bonds dropped. So mortgage rates soared. We went from about a 6.25 rate to about a 7.25 rate, all the way down here.
Right.
Not good news. That happened with the first Fed cut. Then we started to improve just a little bit here. Again,
Yep.
guess what happened right here?
Another Fed cut.
Another Fed cut, and it went down again. So
Mhm.
interest rates went up again. Now, time has kind of gone by. This was the announcement of the election. Look what happened. Bonds grew. They got much better. They
Yep.
loved the election. Okay.
Yep.
But now, then the Fed says we're
Jump
going to
Fed.
drop Fed rate again. They start announcing it right in this area. And then look what happens to the bonds again. They don't like it because the Fed cutting the Fed rate will stimulate the stock market and pull energy out of the bond market. And that is what's eroding it. So when you hear me say I'm not crazy about Fed cuts, it could help us in the long run, but right now it's not doing interest rates any favors at all. So right now you're sitting right here in this area where the average interest rate's running about 6.9%. Now,
Gotcha.
I've locked a client in this week in the high fives. I've locked a couple of them in the mid sixes,
Right.
depending on credit score, down payment, all those kind of
All those
factors.
options. Right.
But it's important that you understand. I'm finding that government interest rates are better than conforming interest rates, meaning FHA and VA tend to be a little bit more attractive. So These are the things that you need somebody to guide you in the right direction. I've got a couple clients, they qualify well for conventional loans, but they're only putting 3 to 5% down. The seller can only pay a maximum of 3% towards their closing costs.
Yep.
They were willing to pay more. So the only way to do that is either put 10% down, which they didn't have, or switch to FHA. I got them a better interest rate and more closing costs in their pocket. So you need somebody that can guide you in that direction.
Fantastic, Bruce. And you've been guiding my customers now for a few years, and I couldn't be happier. So looking forward to 2025 year with you and helping as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah, same here. I want to talk to you a little bit about a client that we have that I referred to you. We'll just use his name, Edwin. Okay.
All right.
So Edwin called me and wanted me to refer him to a real estate agent, but he's probably going to pay cash, but he might get some financing. Okay.
Mhm.
But he was looking at new construction with builders that I don't have an alignment with. Okay.
Right.
So he called Tom the other day and he was worried about me that I wouldn't make any money when I did the loan. And I want you to know, under no circumstances would I ever put my needs in front of a client's. It's
Right.
not going to happen. So
Absolutely.
Tom calls me, he says, the client's all worried about it, that you're not going to get paid because this builder's offering him a 3.95% interest rate. And I'm going to tell you something. It's not about me. It's not about Tom. It's about you. And if
Absolutely.
that is a better deal, I would be selfish and inconsiderate to put my needs in front of his. And I want you to know that Tom and I would never do that. Never do that in a million years. I will bow out of a deal and encourage you. And I'll even review the closing documents for him just to make sure he's getting the right deal.
There you go,
So
man.
that's
Definitely
what you
appreciate
want.
it.
I just wanted to share that moment because Tom was experiencing it. The client was worried about it. And I just wanted to share that moment with you. That's why I love working with you, Tom. You've not only become a great business partner, but a wonderful friend. And I'm grateful for having a friend like you in my life.
Same here, my friend. Same here. Well, listen, I know you've got to get out of
I'm
town.
heading to
Head up
New York
north.
City, baby.
Yeah, go have fun up in the city.
Yep. All right. Take care.
All right, make it a great week.